recording. Good. Okay, so let's just start off standing. And in order to come into the Ha Kriya, we want to be really rooted to the ground. So as we kind of breathe out the energy and we let go with the sound, stay rooted so you don't kind of get, blown hither and, can't say it, hither and, anyway, you know what I mean. So root through the feet. Maybe just take a moment to lift all of your toes, spread them and then drop them gently down. And then the other thing is to think about, want to be really firm and grounded here, but not rigid. So if you're kind of really tense around the knee joint, can you bring a little bit of softness in around the hips? So just notice if you're pushing the hip flexors forward, soften those. And one way to do that is to feel like the flesh of the inner thighs is rolling in and back. That just helps soften. And then navel and solar plexus, soften there. Shoulders are gently released down. And we'll just take some rounds of normal breath just to ground us and to bring us all together. And then we'll come into the Ha Kriya, which I'll talk you through a couple and then we'll go through it together. So maybe if you want to, you can have hands on the body, or if it's more comfortable, feels better, just resting down by your side. And you may want to close your eyes, or if you've got a nice view, then just have a steady gaze. So rather than the gaze wandering around. And let's take a breath in through the nose together and let it go. Just feel that soothing effect of the exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then one more. Good. And then keep breathing with that steady flow, just while I talk you through the Ha Kriya. So Kriya is a cleansing practice. So think of this rather than a breath technique as a cleansing, a way of cleansing stagnant energy to get kind of angst and stress out. So I'll do it side on. Slightly soft knees, maybe feet hip width apart. You're going to draw the hands together and interlace them. If that's comfortable. If there's a strain on your shoulders when you bring the arms up overhead like that, then have them apart. We're going to inhale and lift up, and then as you exhale, bend down. I'll do it slowly. You bend down and then let the hands go, ha, and you vocalize. Inhale, lift up again, ha. We're going to do 10 at a relatively steady pace. I'll count us, well, I'll lead us through them. And then we're going to speed up and do 10 fast. When you finish, or when we've all finished, just want you to come back into that standing position, close your eyes or have a steady gaze, hands by your side or on your body, and just breathe, bring the breath back to that normal cadence and feel in your body. Feel the sensations, don't try and label them, just feel, and then we'll move on. So find your position. So feet slightly hip width apart. Soft, soft and relaxed. Interlace the hands. Inhale. And then let it go. Ha. 1. Ha. 2. Ha. 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 I'm going to speed up. Ha. 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 And then come back to stand. Stay in stillness and feel. Maybe the breath becomes a bit slower, possibly deeper. You can feel all of those sensations. And then that could be all sorts of different things that you feel, but keeping that with the breath steady. If you like to practice with Ujjayi Pranayama, that slight gentle constriction at the back of the throat, You can come into that now. And we'll take some standing cat and cows just to mobilize into the spine. So little bend in the knees, hands on the thighs. As you inhale, lift up through the chest, broaden the collarbones, shoulder blades squeeze in. Then as you exhale, round. So it won't feel probably like there's quite as much movement as there is when you're down on all fours. So do a couple of rounds like that. And then let's start to bring the arms in. So inhale, reach up, stretch through the fingertips. And then exhale as if you're curling and cuddling somebody or hugging somebody. Oh, wouldn't that be nice right now? Inhale, broaden and open. And exhale, maybe hug yourself. Keep going like that. So the spine is waving, taking it as shallow or as deep, as expansive as you feel like on this Monday evening. I just really feel like being wide and then hugging in, drawing that energy in. Couple more. And then come back to stillness. Feet hip width apart. Let's take a lateral side bend. So inhale, left arm up. Take another inhale, breathe into the armpit, get more space. And then without crunching into the right side, lean over. Keep pressing down through the left foot to get more sensation into that left side of the body. Other hand can dangle, or you can have a hand on the waist. Make sure that the breath is staying steady here. And then inhale, up. Exhale, inhale again, breathe into that right armpit. Left hand comes down. And then as you exhale, take it over. This time feeling that stretch. Press through the right sole of the foot. Good. And then come up, draw both hands down. So we're going to move through some sun salutations, but we're going to add in some warriors just to mix it up a bit. So standing at the front of the mat, I'm going to cue you. We'll do the first round together relatively slowly so you can learn the sequence. Then I'm going to let you go on your own. So standing at the front, finding that softness within the strength. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forwards all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Step back to high plank. Hold your high plank for another inhale. Depending on how you're feeling, you may want to drop the knees. And then exhale, lower down into your low plank. And then inhale into your back bend. Be gentle. You may want to come down into Sphinx here. That may feel better. And then as you exhale, press yourself back into tabletop. Curl the toes under. Roll up to down dog. First down dog, just paddle the feet a couple of times. And then come to stillness, both feet together at the back of the mat. We're going to inhale, lift the right leg, keeping the hip point pointing down. As you exhale, round forward, land the foot, get it in between the hands. And then turn the back foot in slightly. We're going to rise up to warrior one to begin with. So pelvis is facing in a forwardish direction, maybe probably more to the corner of your mat rather than the short front end. If warrior one with the foot down is uncomfortable, take it into a lunge. A breath here. And then as you exhale, open into warrior two. You'll take another breath in warrior two. And then you're going to cartwheel the hands down, pivot on the back foot, step back to your plank, lower, inhale into your back bend, and exhale back. Take a breath in here and a breath out. Feet together in the middle of the mat. Inhale, left leg up. Keep the pelvis neutral. Exhale, roll that foot forward. Back foot turns in slightly. Inhale up. Exhale, open to warrior two. You'll take a breath here. And on the exhale, come back down. Step back to high plank. Make your way back to down dog. And that doesn't have to mean taking the full vinyasa. That could be rolling the spine straight back to down dog if you'd rather. And then once you're back in your down dog, you're going to come right high up on the balls of the feet and then walk the feet forwards. You could walk, if you're feeling energetic, you could hop, skip or jump. When you're in your forward fold, use an inhale to come halfway lift, crown of the head reaches forward, spine long. Exhale, fold down, press into the floor. Inhale, rise slowly all the way up. And exhale, hands into heart center. So that's one full round of this version of sun salutations. I'm going to do 2 more. So I'll start you off on the first one, and then I'll leave you, and we'll meet back in down dog. So when you're ready, inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forwards all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Make your way back to down dog. Your flow, feel into your body, meet it where it's at this evening. If that isn't taking a full vinyasa, then that's absolutely fine. It's your body, it's your practice. So when you're all the way back, right leg lifts up, lift it high, bring it forward, land in between the hands. Use an inhale to rise up to warrior 1, so arms straight up overhead. Use the exhale to open out to warrior 2, arms front and back, horizontal, chest moves to the side. And then you're going to bring yourself into a plank. So swivel the back foot, bring your hands either side of the front foot, make your way back to down dog. And then keep flowing. So this time when you get there, the left leg will rise. At the end of that one, from your down dog, you'll come forward. And if one breath, one movement does, or one part of the breath cycle, one movement doesn't work for you, then you slow it down. You take as long as you need, as many breaths. Our postures and our flow should be steady and easeful. Jackie, if your back is bothering you when you come into, maybe come into a really long, wide sphinx rather than cobra or up dog, just to ease out the lower back. Remember, when you come into your halfway lift, really squeeze the inner shoulder blades together. Think long, straight spine rather than that sort of forward hunch that we often have. And when you get to the end of the second round, stay in down dog. Just keeping an eye on everyone to see how you're doing. If you're back in down dog, remember you don't have to stay in stillness. If you want to paddle your feet, drop the knees from side to side, just while we're waiting for everyone to finish, then that's fine. If you feel like you want to drop down into child's pose to have a rest, then that is fine also. We're nearly there. Hannah, what happens if you, I was gonna say, what happens if you bend your knees a little bit so that you can get your sit bones up? And then think about the chest coming into the thighs. Nice. Okay, I think we are all there now. So from your down dog, we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet into your forward fold. And then as you inhale, bottom drops down, arms come up, chair pose. And because we've come from down rather than dropping from the top down, just check that you can see all 10 toes here. If you can't, scoot your bottom back a bit further. If the shoulders are sore, I don't know if Colette's on, but if you've got any shoulder issues and it feels too much to have the arms straight up, then you can bring them parallel in front of you, or you could even cross your arms across your chest in a heart shape. So we need to travel to the front of the mat. So we're going to jump there. Light, gentle bunny hop. So I won't be able to hear how heavy footed you're being. You're going to inhale and exhale, jump, and jump, and jump. But you all made that look too easy. So we're going to do it again. So you're going to jump back to the back of your mat, staying in your chair. People have come out of their chair. So you're going to jump back, nice and lightly, there's the earpiece, and then you're going to jump forward again, by which time your quads will hopefully be speaking to you. Excellent. Stay in your chair when you get to the front of the mat again. For 3, for 2, last one, come down even lower, and then the best, but press through the feet. Inhale, stand all the way up and bring the hands down by your side. Take a moment, you might just want to shake everything out to release. If the breath has got a little bit rapid through the sun salutations, calm it down now. We're going to come into eagle pose, Garudasana. So we're going to take all of our kind of balance, all of our grounding into our left leg, soft bend, right leg lifts up, crosses over once, and if there's space, the foot wraps around twice. Arms out wide, right arm wraps under left. If that feels too much on the shoulders, just stack the arms on top of each other. If you're wrapping, you want to draw the elbows away from the chest and then lift the fingertips up towards the ceiling, squeezing into the midline. And then a little bit of test of the balance. We're going to slowly unwrap that right leg. Before we take it back, drop the knee down, squeeze the heel into the butt, doing a version of flamingo pose, and then slowly extend that leg behind you, coming into warrior 3 with eagle arms. So again, think about the crown of the head reaching forward, sole of the foot reaching back. And then very slowly, little bend into the left foot, come onto the ball of the right foot, lift up into your crescent lunge. Come around this way. So fingertips, whoops. If you're like me, you're wobbling in your crescent lunge, then separate the feet across the mat. So you want to be in a distance with your crescent lunge that you can bend the knee comfortably. So if you're really wide in your stance, just maybe bring the feet together a little bit. Going to inhale, lift the fingers up, exhale, dip down. Knee isn't touching the floor, but it's almost, and then inhale back up again. Exhale down, inhale up. Last time, let's stay down. For 3, for 2, for 1, inhale up. And then release the hands, bring them up overhead. Shoulders are going to lift, that's fine. And then maybe turn the gaze up towards the ceiling. Good. And then from here, going to turn both feet parallel with the short side of the mat. Going to bend into the right leg, so you feel the stretch into the underside of the left leg. Bring the right hand onto the inner right thigh, not to kind of press it out, but just to rest it there. And then turn and turn, and then maybe that left arm lifts up. If that right foot needs to turn out slightly like mine has, then that's fine. I'm feeling a stretch now, possibly more into the right inner groin. For 3, for 2, for 1, good. Going to straighten that leg up, bring both arms out wide. Bring the feet parallel. Going to take an inhale, exhale, come forward to halfway. Inhale here, and then exhale, arms out in front of you. Reach your fingers. And then we've done this in a halfway lift a couple of times. Going to take a kind of a swimming action. So inhale, fingers forward. Exhale, squeeze the elbows away from each other. So the inner shoulder blades are coming in, being activated. Couple more breaths. Good. And then on your next exhale, gently come down all the way into a forward fold. So crown of the head reaches down to the floor. I won't demo because my ear things will fall out, but see if you can soften here. So quite often it's a big stretch on the inner groin. So we bring a lot of tension. Can you soften? So you feel like everything in the abdominal cavity is kind of sinking down into the, what's it called? The kind of the groin area. Soften down, release the tension. If the position you're in, you feel like you've got loads of space and you want to challenge yourself a bit more, bring the feet slightly in towards each other. So you're still wide-legged, but a slightly narrower version. For 3, for 2, for 1. And then from here, we're going to walk our hands around to the front of the mat again. So pivot your feet and come, the back foot, the right foot turns in slightly. We're going to windmill the right arm up, back behind, coming into warrior 2. So nice, firm, solid foundation. And then we're going to move our warrior 2 into a kind of a high version of triangle. So from here, turn your palms up. As you exhale, straighten the front leg, arms together. Inhale, come down. And exhale, come up. 3 more like that. So how deep do you want to bring it? And although there's kind of movement and action going on in that left leg at the front, keep the right leg active as well. Don't let it go to sleep. 1 more. And then we're going to hold it in our warrior 2 with our palms up. Feel like the fingertips are spreading away from each other. Notice how this feels different to when the arms are in the position with the palms facing down. For 3, for 2, for 1. Turn the palms down. We're going to swivel on the ball of the back foot. Going to frame the front foot with both hands. Step the front foot back, come into plank. Make your way back to down dog, however you want to get there. Good. And then once you're in your down dog, walk your hands back towards your feet. Good. Once you're there, on an inhale, gently rise, draw the arms up, bend the knees into your chair pose. Good. Guess what? We need to get to the front of the mat. So inhale, and then you're going to jump to the front of the mat. Brilliant. If you're feeling energetic and want to go back and forward again, then do. Otherwise, stay in your chair. We're going to wait for those who've got Monday evening energy they need to work through, and go a little bit lower. When you go lower, what tends to happen is the shoulders and the arms drop down. Can you then lift those? So you're really working into those muscles on the upper back. Good. Hold for 3. Bit lower. Some people are tired, I can tell. 2, 1, press into the feet and inhale. Lift all the way up. Hands down by your side. So taking it on the opposite side. This time we're going to take all of our balance into our right leg. So we're going to come into eagle on the left side. So left leg lifts, wraps around, squeezes in. Arms out to the side. Left arm wraps under. Fingertips up, elbows away.
and sitting down into your eagle. Find that steady gaze, that steady cadence of breath. And then we're going to slowly unwrap the left leg. And before we take it back into warrior three, just drop the knee down, heel to butt. So it's a strong contraction of the hamstrings. If you have crampy hamstrings, then lessen the angle. And then very slowly take that back. Warrior three. Doesn't need to be a T shape, it could be a seesaw shape. We're just going for that straight line. There we go. And then from here, slowly, carefully, gently land. Fingertips up to the ceiling. Adjust your stance so that you're stable. That might mean widening the feet. We're going to do those knee dips again. So we're going to inhale, lift, and exhale, drop down. Inhale, lift, and exhale, drop down. 3 more. This time I'm going to stay down with that knee hovering for 3, for 2, for 1, coming all the way up, unwrapping the arms, reach up just to release the shoulders, and then we're going to open out to warrior two. Breathe in your warrior two. Good. And then let's bring both feet parallel with the short side of the mat. This time we're going to bend into the left knee, maybe taking the forearm. You might find it helpful to turn the left toes out. So forearm or hand just resting on the thigh, open up to the side, bring the right arm up, lift up. Really reach up through the fingertips so you feel that shoulder lifting. For 3, for 2, for 1, slowly come all the way up, parallel the feet with the short side of the mat. And then this time we're coming into that wide-legged forward fold again. If you have a favorite way of having your arms, so they're all Prasarita, Padottanasana versions, could be the arms round behind you, interlacing the hands, grabbing wrists or elbows. Could be taking reverse prayer, if that's a nice option for you, kind of that movement. Or it could be bringing the hands down to the floor, walking them underneath your legs. So take your hands wide, whichever position you're coming into. Inhale, draw up, but make sure that you're softening the inner groin area, and then exhale. Start to feel the pelvis moving over the head of the femur bone. Crown of the head reaches down, soft knees. Just take a moment in this inverted position and also this turned in position to find some stillness, to find some release if you're stretching through the shoulders in some way. And if you start in a position and think, actually, I've had enough of the arms in this position, then let them go, take a different position. For 3, for 2, for 1. Little bend in the legs, walk the feet round to the front of the mat, swivel. We're going to rise up to warrior two again. So back foot turns in slightly. This time the left arm windmills forward and then up overhead. You're in your warrior two. Adjust your feet as necessary. And then we're going to take that same dancing warrior. So palms turn up. Inhale, reach. And exhale into your warrior. Inhale up. And exhale coming down. Two more. Last time. And then this time we're going to hold our warrior two, palms facing up. And then get that sense of softening down into the groin so you're not holding tension, releasing into the inner thighs. For 3, for 2, for 1. Turn the palms down. Going to swivel on the ball of the back foot. Frame the right foot, step back, make your way back to down dog, however you want to get there. And that may well be just rolling straight back. It was pretty vinyasa heavy at the start of the class, so just adapt. Good. And then just think about your down dog again, particularly if you're beginning to feel a little bit tired. Think about bending the knees, those sits bones lifting up to the sky. So thinking about long spine with its natural S curves. And then from here, very slowly lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the inner thigh lifted so that the hip stays nice and neutral. And then come up on the ball of the left foot as you take your next inhale. And then as slowly as you can, take that right leg and land the right foot on the outside of the right hand. So you're in your lizard pose. Stay up high to begin with. And rather than kind of dropping the groin down, lift it up, press out through the heel of the back foot. And then maybe while you've got the hands down, walk that right foot even further forward. And then drop down onto the left knee, top of the left foot. And rather than thinking about collapsing down here, maybe come up onto fingertips or fists. Right knee is coming forward. This might feel really, it might feel really tight. It does for me. My hips are quite tight at the moment, but just breathe into this and then think about length through the front body. Shoulders are soft. And then if you find it helpful, turn those right toes to about 2 o'clock, somewhere around there, and maybe roll onto the pinky toe edge so the inner arch lifts up. Left hand could stay down. You could even bring the right hand and take the flesh of the inner thigh and roll it upwards and out. So you're going in an anti-clockwise direction, just to help to bring a little bit more space. And then bring the right hand onto the back of the left hip, turn the body towards that bent leg. And if you wanted to, you could then extend the right arm back behind you. Breathe here, so open through the shoulder, thumb pointing up. And then draw that right arm up to the ceiling. Slowly bring the right arm all the way forward and back down. Bring the foot back to 12 o'clock and then come up onto fingertips, shift your hips back, straighten that right leg, not completely, little bit of a bend, draw the toes in towards the body so you're in half Hanuman. Think about the body, the front body being long here rather than rounding. So if your tummy rolls feel bigger than they do normally, can you lift and lengthen rather than collapse? Keep drawing the sit bones back behind you. Notice if any tensions come into the upper back or the shoulders, can you soften and breathe? Two more breaths. And then from here, you're going to draw, this is really tricky, I always think, draw the right foot in, bring the right hand onto the outside of the right foot, curl up onto the ball of the left foot, and then I would say move straight back to down dog, but obviously it's your practice. So if you want another vinyasa, take a vinyasa, high plank, low plank transition, or any other form of flow that gets you back to down dog. And then we'll take that on the other side. So feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale, lift the left leg high. Come right up on the ball of the right foot to give you a bit of extra space.
And then that left leg is going to come and the foot is going to land on the outside of the left hand. Staying up on the ball of the right foot to begin with. Think about a lift up through the groin rather than a sinking down. And then edge that left foot even further forward. And then slowly drop down onto the right knee, top of the right foot, right calf. So lizard's one of those poses that there's so many different variations. Long through the front body. There's almost like a lift up, which might mean you're on fingertips like spiders or on fists. But breathe here. And then we're going to lift the left toes, turn the foot out somewhere 11, 10, 30, maybe rolling onto the pinky toe edge again. That might feel really tight. You might prefer to stay with the foot down, have a play. Right hand stays down, left hand, draw the inner thigh flesh back round. So this time it'll be going in a clockwise direction. And then you may feel like you want to turn the body. Be very mindful of the lower back here if you get twingy lower backs. Bring the hand onto the sacral area. And so that you're already turning from that thoracic spine, not further down in the lumbar. You may then, if it feels okay, want to stretch the arm behind you, thumb pointing up. Big stretch into the shoulder. Breathe here. And then gently draw that left arm up towards the ceiling. Bring the hands slowly down with control. And then that kind of awkward maneuver. Draw the left foot back in. Left hand on the outside of the left foot. Come onto the flat of the palms. Lift yourself up and make your way back to down dog. As I say, however you want to get into down dog. Good, I think everyone's there. From your down dog, I'm going to drop down onto our knees into tabletop and just take a couple of rounds of cat and cow or free movement here before we come to a seated couple of postures. And then when you're ready, just bump down onto the side of one of the hips and bring your legs forward. So we're going to come into, we've done Garudasana, we're coming into Gomukhasana. I was getting confused. So depending on where you're at with your practice and how your hips are feeling, we're either going to take half Gomukhasana, well, we'll all start in half Gomukhasana and then we'll move to full for those that want it. So going to lift your right leg, bend the knee and cross the right leg over, but you want to come onto the pinky toe edge of that right foot. So it's not the sole of the foot down, pinky toe edge, and you want to stack one knee on top of the other, which means your inner thighs are going to be squeezing in towards each other. Left foot is straight, toe straight up. And then even if you're going to come into full Gomukhasana, just bring your hands down, lift your bottom up and slide it back a little bit. It's going to help. This may feel strong enough for you. And even if you're coming in, as I say, to the fuller expression, keep squeezing those inner thighs. So there's a kind of a lift up. You're coming into full, going to lean over to the inside of that right foot, bend the left knee, and then stack. And it's not a perfect science. So what you might want to then do, lean forward so that you can snuggle the knees in towards each other and come and sit down. You want to ideally be pressing into both sit bones equally. So if it feels like the buttocks are really uneven, then pop a blanket so that you are even, kind of from a, what's that? Well, in that plane, so you're not tipping over to the side. And then even though there's this sort of squeeze in and lift, can you do that without introducing tension into the front body? And then just for a moment before we come forward, just your feet, they're slightly flexed, but you know, don't
make it so flexed that the plantar fascia underneath the soles of the feet is really hard. So a little bit of relaxing there. And they're in a really nice position to give yourself a little bit of self-care and massage. So lots of acupressure points on the soles of the feet. I turn this way. Just use a thumb, start on the kind of just on the inside of the heel, and just gently work your way up to just under the ball of the foot. Don't press onto the ball, that would be really sore. And then just thumb back down. And then come in. If you imagine that you're trying to come in between the gaps of the toes, just work your way up. And you may find some points there. And again, you're just stopping before you get to the ball of the foot. There might be some points there that are quite sore and ouchy. That's very normal. And then just work up into the middle of the feet. And there's definitely there's a big acupressure point in the middle of the foot, which can feel really sore. But all the while you're doing this, don't lose that kind of drawing in of the inner thighs, but it's quite helpful because it tends to take your mind off what's going on in those outer hips and this big stretch. And then when you flip, you can also take loose knuckles and just stroke on the inside of the feet. Another thing that's great to do here, take your fingers, interleave them in between your toes. So those who used to get pedicures, will we ever have pedicures again? Once your fingers are interleaved, then spread your fingers apart. So you're stretching in between your toes. So again, not that I imagine any of us are wearing tight shoes at the moment, but it's a nice counter to that. Breathe here. And then lastly, release that. If for the last few moments in this pose, you want a little bit of extra sensation, then a couple of things you can do. You can draw the feet further away from each other so your cow's ears get bigger. And then you can also, keeping both sit bones down, gently walk yourself forward. If by doing that you get rigid and tense, lessen off, because being tense is not going to help you get the stretch and the release through the muscles. And then breathe. If that's too intense, you stay upright, maybe stroking the feet this time. Come back around this way. And this might feel like I'm holding you in here for a really long time. That's because I am. Because these are big muscles that we need to release. And again, purely selfishly, we're releasing them because they're really tight on me today because I went for a run yesterday. If you're leaning forward, use the next inhale to bring yourself back up. So we have a choice here. If you are in half Gomukhasana, you're going to uncross the right leg, bring it out in front of you so you're in Dandasana, and then bend the left knee, take it straight over. If you're in cow face pose and you like the turning around and go straight in on the other side, come with me, or otherwise uncross your legs, bring them straight out in front of you, and then come into your Gomukhasana that way. So if you're going to come with me in the round the world, you're going to turn the body to the inside of the right foot, bring your palms of your hands down, lift up onto the sole of the right foot, ball of the left foot, walk yourself around the back of your mat, keep the feet swiveling, 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 and then come and sit back round the other way. And it's unlikely that when you come to land, you'll be in your perfect Gomukhasana. So again, you can bring yourself forward, adjust, and prop yourself. So I really feel on this side that my left butt cheek, my left glute is not down on the floor. So ideally, I'd grab a blanket and put it there so I feel more even. So adjust as you need to. Make sure the feet are gently flexed, just so that the knees are protected. And again, if the feet are crying out for a bit more love, give them a bit more love. So just kind of been working all around the hips in the sequence today. Internal and external rotation, a bit of flexion and extension, and some abduction and adduction, which should mean that they should feel nice and released at the end of this. And also, from an energetic point of view, we often carry stress and tension. It goes in and then it sits in the hips. So it's another good tool for releasing any of that kind of pent up stuff. Not that I have any of that, but you know. Stay with the breath. And then because we've been in the first side for a fair amount of time and now we're in the second side, just catch yourself. Has the mind started to speak to you? Any of those habitual patterns that we all have? Don't want to do this anymore. When are we coming out of the pose? Had enough of this. My hips are screaming. Why am I doing this? All of that kind of stuff. Just notice. We all get it. So it's having the awareness that that's just another story. Just another thing, another bit of chatter. Let's take 3 shared breaths together. So draw the breath into the nose and then release. 2 more. 1 more time. Maybe this time really vocalize. And then wherever you are, we're going to very gently unwind the legs. Bring them out in front of you. You probably want to keep a little bit of a bend behind the knees, and then just take some ankle rotations, just because the ankles are in quite a strong angle in Gomukhasana. Give the legs a bit of a wobble, and then just sit in Dandasana for a moment. So think about the spine being tall, but not being rigid, and just feel any sensations around the tops of the legs, into the hips. And then we've got 1 more posture, just again in the seated to work into the inner groin area. So we're going to take Baddha Konasana. So you're going to draw the soles of the feet together. I find it helpful to then sit up and just draw my hips back a little bit. You can hold on to the ankles. Again, you can hold on to the feet. What I don't want you to do is to press your hands down onto the inner thighs and wrench the thighs down. So just let them be where they naturally come to. As we stay in the shape, they might open up a bit. If this is really strong and you're thinking, oh, then I don't like this, then prop the outside of the thighs, give them some support with a pillow or a couple of pillows or anything you've got to hand. Lift up again through the front chest, but keep soft. And then maybe, again, this might feel nice, it might not. You can try just gently bringing a little bit of bounce, a little bit of movement in. If you're very open in this plane and just sitting like this does nothing, or it doesn't give you enough sensation, doesn't give you enough feedback, then again, you can walk yourself further forward. And here, let the crown of the head go, so stretching into the back body. But for me, just sitting up like this is really enough. Maybe start to soften the gaze here. Notice as well if anything's happened to your jaw, if any tension crept in. And the shoulders as well, that's the other place that can almost feels like, if anyone's seen, I think it was Smack the Pony, there was a comedy sketch where one of the women put a pair of Spanx on and was talking about how marvellous her flat belly was, and then they panned up and they showed her neck, which had just become sort of like Jabba the Hutt rolls of fat. I kind of think sometimes you feel released in your hips and then you suddenly notice, oh, but I'm tensing my shoulders, I'm tensing my jaw. Just see if you can soften. I'm going to take 3 more breaths here. So in your own time with your own breath cadence, but we'll breathe out through the mouth, making any noise that you want. That could be a sigh, that could be a loud wail. Nobody can hear. Well, not on this call anyway. Breathe in and let it go in your own time. Do 2 more like that. And then when you get to the end of the 3rd exhale, Gently take the hands onto the outside of the thigh. Draw the knees up towards the ceiling, feet flat on the floor. Just check where you are on your mat. If you're not near the front, then move, swivel yourself forward so you've got enough room to come and lie down. And also we're going to come and lie down, take a spinal twist, and then come straight into Shavasana. So while you're upright, if you want to put any socks on, any jumpers, have blankets to hand, grab those now. And then when you've got everything that you need, slowly and with gentle control, roll down onto your back. Keep the knees drawn into the chest. And it may feel nice just to draw the knees around in circles a couple of times. Just see how it feels. And then if you've got space, draw the arms at 90 degrees away from the body, palms facing up. And use an exhale to drop the knees gently over to the left, stretching into the right side body. If you're a bit more constrained on space, turn the arms into goalposts, back of the hands and back of the elbows down. Think about that right shoulder being down to the floor. So if that means that the knees are a little bit higher, then that's absolutely fine. And then draw the knees up to center on an inhale. And as you exhale, take them over to the other side. So feel that lengthening through the left side waist now. Maybe a bit more space in the left side ribs to breathe into. And then draw the knees back to center. Lift the head and shoulders, give yourself a hug again. And then if there are any happy baby fans who fancy a happy baby before we come to lie down for rest, then just separate the knees, turn the soles of the feet up. Or otherwise, if you are ready for your rest straight away, then come to lie down in a position that's comfortable for you. If you're lying down on your back, then separate the legs away from each other. Internally rotate the arms so the palms face up. Eyes of the elbows are up as well. And have the arms away from the body. So there's that space under the armpits. Let the eyes close softly. Let the tongue sit in the base of the mouth. Take any breath patterns you need to help you soften and release. And then allow yourself just to let go. So rather than consciously trying to force relaxation, just meet yourself where you're at. Let your breath become progressively more gentle and soft. But naturally, you're not forcing anything. And let yourself feel held, supported by the earth. Maybe becoming aware of these sensations, the pulsations within your body, as your external shape is in stillness. And then if you are able and want to stay in your Shavasana, please do. But we're just coming up to over the hour. So for those who need to move, got things to do with their evening, start to bring gentle movement into the body and take a slow journey to coming back to upright. Take your time, support yourself. And stay with your eyes closed or with a soft gaze onto something. Rest your hands wherever it's comfortable and just take a last few moments just checking in how you're feeling, how the breath is moving in the body. And then maybe turning that to a sense of gratitude for your practice, for being well. And then gently draw their hands together at the heart center if they're not already. Thank you so much for sharing your Monday evening with me. And then if you gently open your eyes a moment, I don't know if this is going to work, but I just wanted to show you, I saw this on social media, it's Charlie McKeesy. I don't know if you guys know The Boy, the Horse, the Fox and the Mole. Just beautiful, beautiful picture book. It's just lovely, but I don't know if you guys can see that, probably not. I will read it to you. No, okay. So it's the illustrations are beautiful. I look him up if you haven't got the book. I should have done this as a screen tip. Anyway, the horse says to the boy, just take this step, the horizon will look after itself, which I think is, that's all we can do really. So just take the next step and yeah, keep focusing on the next step, which we do in our practice, and we can then take it off our mat. So thank you so much for sharing your Monday evening. Look after yourselves. Back next Monday. I'm teaching restorative on Wednesday, and then unfortunately I'm on a training course, so there's no Thursday, Friday or Saturday class. But if anyone does want to practice, Charlotte is teaching, Emma's teaching. If you need details, just drop me a line. I can tell you how to get in touch. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Take care. I'm going to unmute everyone so that